right. Welcome, Evan. Nice to meet you, man. So, where are you right now?
Pleasure to be here. Very happy to have this conversation. I'm calling in from India, New Delhi. Uh,
Wow. Wow, man. Oh, yeah. You told me you were having a national holiday yesterday, right?
yes, it was the Color of Festival yesterday. We just got
Oh,
done with, yeah,
all right. So, let me get this right. That's the one where everybody's throwing the bright colors all
yes.
over each other.
Everybody's putting colors on everybody's faces, and they're just throwing color water balloons filled with colored water at everybody else. It's a good time. It's the old festival. It's a lot of fun.
That looks. That's something I've always wanted to see. I don't know if I could take all the powder in the face and the eyes and stuff. Is that a problem?
That is not a problem. You can come join in there. You can ask them to not throw at your face and just on your clothes, and they are very much happy to do that. I
Oh,
used to
that's
play a
cool.
lot before. I don't do too much now, but yeah, that's how it is. It's an interesting
Yeah.
festival. Definitely
Awesome.
worth visit. I've been to 60 countries, and I always tell people India is definitely a place you should visit because of all the culture and diversity that you get to see in one place that you don't get to see in other places.
Yeah.
So it's always recommended to come to India.
Yeah, it's way up on my list of places to visit. I would love it. So, so you're here to let's talk about Bitclout, a word I wouldn't have even uttered less than a week ago, and learned about it on Clubhouse. And as I recall, in one of the very first Clubhouse rooms I was in learning and hearing about it, and I had actually already joined, but barely. And you spoke a little bit and spoke very effectively. And the way you spoke, you sounded kind of like an OG because you had been involved early, and I'm not really entirely sure. So why don't you tell me quickly why, how you got involved?
So how I got involved is a little bit longer story. I've been in the tech space for a long time. I was one of the first 100 guys to make apps for the iPhone, built about 30 plus apps before I sold my first company at 17. Made a couple million from that, started investing that back into other startups, and have been investing in startups since a long time. And I bought my first Bitcoin in 2014, and have been in crypto also for quite a bit, and have my own crypto investment bank. It took projects to market, raised tens of millions of dollars, delivered 10x return to our investors. I've had some great projects. One of the projects that I was a seed investor in is called Hashgraph.
Hmm.
I got into Hashgraph and it was a $10 million project. Today it's over $1 billion market cap. One of my very good friends is the founder of the project, and we helped him take the project to market. And just first week of March, or less than 3 4 weeks ago, he comes to me and is like, Evan, I have this new opportunity. I can't tell you what it is right now, but if you send me a couple of Bitcoins, I can get you in. And because he's already made me that 10,000% return on the last investment I did with him, and we've done a few investments together. A lot of them didn't work out, but majority I've been very, very happy with him. So I said, here, I'll send you the Bitcoin. And this guy's a billionaire right now, so he's not going to try to run away with my Bitcoin. So I was like, oh,
Right.
and I sent the Bitcoin, and then boom. A couple of days later, he comes back to me and he says, I got you into Bitclout, and it's a 0 to 1. It's either gonna become the next Twitter or it's gonna go to zero." I was okay taking that risk at any given point of time, so I was like, okay, let's go. And when I came onto the platform, so I mean, Bitclout coin right now is about $150. I got it under $50, right? So, and then big investors, the major investors, I know that they got in at like 1/4 to 1/7 of my price. So they got in between
Wow.
$5 to $10, $5 to $15 is what the big investors got in at. So there's the Sequoia Capital and the Anderson Horowitz and these guys I'm talking about.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's how I got into Big Cloud, is through my friend who I helped in the past build his company to a successful $1 billion market cap, and now he got me another deal. And I think that's what it comes down to, is adding value for others and making sure they have a great time every time you link up with them, so they remember you when the best deals come your way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think most people don't have that entree to investments like you do, but there seems to be a lot of just everyday people who don't have a lot of investment capital piling in and trying to navigate this space that's highly speculative, putting money into you know, a system that they don't even really understand, or maybe not putting money in and wondering why nothing's happening and that sort of thing. So, what do you think about that sort of, it's kind of every man's Wild West part of this?
I mean, so the first thing advice I would go give most people is, because there doesn't exist an official exit ramp right now. You can't get your money out of Bitcoin. You can grow it a lot. It is one of the fastest growing opportunities in the market right now, because the rate it's growing is unmatched by any other company or investment asset class that I've looked into.
Mhm.
It's even unmatched by Bitcoin, right? So that, I mean, the first thing I'll tell you is be only invest money you're willing to lose, right? Don't, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, I don't want you to go and invest your next paycheck in Bitclout. But if
Right.
you have capital lying around and you have the risk appetite to be an early adopter into new platforms, this is one of the best opportunities, because it's really changing the game. You have to remember one thing, right? Most products, most social networks today revolve around an ad-based solution where you see an ad and that's how the company makes money. But with
Yeah.
Bitclout, there are no ads. It doesn't exist any ad. Each post that each creator makes is an ad for that creator's profile, because they have linked a monetary value to each single profile and each single individual, right? And that's what's the exciting part here. Now, you can run a network where there is no ads, but every single post is forced to be quality content because it's an ad for the post creator, for the content creator. So to me, that's a game changer. And there's so many ways you can apply this, right? There are so many ways you can go into. For example, somebody who wants to book a call with me, usually I charge $1,000 an hour, right? You can go on clarity.fm/my name and book a call with me. But you pay $1,000 up front. Now I'm going to change that. And I'm going to say, if you want to book a call with me now, go and buy $1,000 worth of my coin. One, it opens a marketplace. So before, if somebody booked a call and maybe I didn't add enough value to them, the call didn't go as they planned, and they end up losing the thousand. Not, I wouldn't say losing, because I did give them my time, but they end up spending the $1,000 for not too much value. With Bitclout, they can sell the $1,000 if I didn't add value to them. They can sell the coin back, and they wouldn't get the value. The second option is doing something like, what do you say? You would you let's say if I added a lot of value in that call, they could go and buy more of my coins. So that this whole idea of supporting people who add value to you, supporting the creators that you look up to, is what's very exciting to me. I mean, so a lot of people keep asking me to invest their money for them. I don't like to do that. I don't take anybody's money. I don't invest anybody's money for them. But there is an opportunity where you can have like, now I'm going to tell people, there's people I've been posting on my Instagram for so long, the deals that I get in, which are open to the public. I posted about Bitclout on my Instagram on March 15th, right? So people who got in early made money. Now, earlier they couldn't thank me. There was no way to appreciate it, no way to support me. But now there is. Now they can go and buy my coin. They can go and show me that they support me and they want me to keep pushing this content out, because right now I have no incentive. I just do it as a way to give back. But this creates an incentive around the creator to keep delivering maximum value. It creates a financial incentive around each creator to keep delivering maximum value. And that's what's really exciting to me.
All right. Yeah. I mean, it's very provocative, and, there's just a million ideas that people can have. And the one that I want to talk about is the idea of instead of charging people or invoicing people straight cash for your time, that's a real gamble on your behalf in a way for the time you're selling, because
Yeah.
you're not getting, this person can resell that time that they had with you. You don't, if depending on how you set your, initial, how you have your founder's coin award set,
Yeah.
you're really not reaping that cash. You're sort of storing it for later, value, I guess, or gambling on yourself in a way.
And I'm going to provide value. I'm
Yeah.
gambling that so that's exactly my point. Bitclout's going to enable the value creators to grow further, and all the bullshitters who bullshit a lot and sell you a bunch of courses and stuff online, well, now they have nowhere to go. You can't scam people into buying your course anymore if your coin on Bitclout is going to be $100, because now facts matter, results will matter even more.
Right.
I'm a long-term holder, right? I use the word $1,000 an hour. I could just say, you want to have a call with me, you're going to have to buy a certain amount of my coin. And as I keep growing the value of my coin, it keeps going further. Maybe 5 years down the line, because I'm a long-term player. Every time
Yeah.
I invest for the long term. I want to see what's the maximum value I can get of long term. And this is because most people underestimate what they can do in 10 years and overestimate what they can do in 2 years. This is a global problem. Most people have the same problem. They underestimate what they can do in the long term. I've had that with myself. So I've learned from my experience not to underestimate what I can achieve in 10 years. So my goal is I want to have a tremendous value in the long term. And I know I can create value for others. And I actually don't want to be paid anymore if I didn't create value for others, because money is a byproduct of creating value. You want to create value for others. That's how it works, right? So
Yeah.
that's the way I see this. This is actually, to me, is like, look at politicians. I'm from India, right? A lot of politicians say a lot of stuff that don't deliver on. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen now is if a politician goes and makes a lie on Twitter, he says something, he doesn't deliver, and then everybody can see that. There's not much you could do. You could do is unfollow them, right? But
Right.
now, if you supported them, you bought their coin, you can go and dump their coin and actually make the effect being felt. The
Right.
more people the more you lie, the more you scam people, fraud people, the more your coin goes down in value.
Yeah.
So that's the way I see this. You eventually have no supporters if you don't add value. So
No
I
argument.
think see, like I said, there are instances in the world where you make asymmetrical amount of money for the effort you put in, but that's only if you find those rare opportunities, like us getting into Bitclout right now. We are
Yeah.
making money even if we just hold a Bitclout token. I have made over 300%, 3x in the last 3-4 weeks. So that's just because I got in early without carrying too much value. That's an
Mhm.
asymmetrical opportunity. But once Bitclout is out there, once everybody's out there, the asymmetrical opportunity goes away, like most things in life. You have to provide the value to get the money, right? That's
Right.
how it happens in most things in life. And I think now with social media, there was a lot of manipulation and misinformation. We used to live in an age where there was no information access. There was asymmetrical access to information, right? Somebody would know something else and somebody would not know it.
Yeah.
And that's how that person would get ahead. But now with the internet, everybody knows everything. Now we're in an age of misinformation. So now
Mhm.
there's too much information out there. You want to find something and go and Google it, and you have 100 different people talking about that thing. So now it's the age of misinformation. You have to see who starts saying the right thing and who do I believe and who do I not believe. So
Right.
in the age of misinformation, something like Bitclout actually is an amazing solution, because you're adding credibility to the profile by having a strong coin price and by having a lot of creator supporters to show for yourself, because it's easy to buy followers. It's easy to buy like get a PR and get companies talking great stuff about you. But if people are putting their money where their mouth is, and if they're showing that they support you, there's no way around that. That
Right.
just
Right.
is direct support. They're putting their hard-earned money into you to support you because you added value to them, or
Yeah.
they think that you add value to them.
Yeah, this reminds me of a conversation that I was in on Clubhouse yesterday with some other clouders, and the discussion came up about politics. And say here was a local politician actually on the platform talking about the future of campaign financing, and I asked the question like, well, that seems like it could run afoul of campaign financing. What about foreign actors, manipulating coins? And then the other part of that I brought up was um, the accountability factor that you're mentioning. You know, politicians having to be. I like the idea that it could provide accountability for a politician. So, like I
100%.
said, yeah,
So I mean, so I agree that it could run afoul of some campaign rules, but Bill, let me tell you something. All the rules made by all these people, all these politicians, have been made by people who are no smarter than us. And we're living in the time of a great reset. That's what I like to call it. The things that are happening right now in the world have happened in history before. They've just not happened in our lifetimes. It's not happening in yours and my lifetime. I think you're a lot older than me. I'm 26 right now.
right,
I believe you're a lot more experienced and wisdom wiser than me, but it's still not happened in your lifetime. We're seeing a great reset where fiat currencies like the US dollar is in process of printing so much that there
mm,
is value being lost, there's trust being lost, and we're in a position where countries like Venezuela and Zimbabwe the citizens have already lost trust on their fiat currencies. But this is not new. This has already happened in the past. A country like Germany, which is technically in the top five most powerful countries in the world, they already had where their fiat currency, the mark, was already crashed. It was useless, right? About 100 years ago.
hmm
So there's things like this which happened in the past, and there's history has gone through changes, right? And now we're in the industrial revolution, as they say right now. There's been multiple revolutions that the world has gone through, and now what I call is the information revolution.
Mhm.
So a thing like the foreign actors can run afoul of the campaign raising laws is a very small thing to consider in the whole retrospect of how the world is changing,
Well,
right?
yes and no, but and I agree to an extent, but also you have we've had people, U.S. citizens, for instance, that are jailed for running afoul of campaign finance laws, and in large part, sort of doing it in sheer ignorance of the law. But still, the law can be weaponized against them, So even though these people that come up with the rules maybe not are as smart as you or I, they certainly have a lot of power to make your life miserable.
No, that's true. But I mean, see, like any technology comes out, right? Any technology, nuclear, right? Nuclear bombs can be made for destroying people, but nuclear energy can be harvested for having a much better way of living life, right? And that's, I'm giving you a very strong example, right?
Right.
Any technology, you can use social media to scam people, or you can use social media to inspire people. Both these tools exist there.
No, I agree.
It really depends on how you want to use the tool. I'm not denying that Bitclout. I mean, there's an opportunity. Bitclout could be a scam. Maybe we all are wasting our time on there because officially there's no exit ramp. Maybe tomorrow there's a rug pull and the guys take away all these hundreds of millions of dollars that they got from people. That is.
Well, what do you think about? What's your gut feeling on that?
I mean, I don't think so though, because I'll tell you why. I mean, no, I think the CEO is Nader, the founder is Nader. He's already had built companies in the past, and I don't think.
Do you know who this is?
I know who the guy is. Yes.
What's
So
his name?
I mean, Nader Ali.
Okay.
He used to run business. Yeah. So that's what I've heard from my circles, but I don't know.
Let me. I'm lost you for a second. He used to run what?
He used to run a company called Basis.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yes, I could send you some stuff about Nader Ali Khan. Is his actual full. I'll send you his details.
Cool.
So basically, yeah. So that's what I can tell you. Like, I mean, I don't think you go and raise all this money from the smartest investors in the world, put in all this time to build a platform, and you have the opportunity to really change the world. You have the opportunity to really change the world in a big way, and you don't do it. You just run away with money. This guy was already successful before. If he wanted to run away with money, he could have done it. Maybe he's being the biggest scam in the world, or he's trying to make a change happen. So we don't know that. And like I said, don't invest anything you can't lose. But this is what I would tell you. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a foregone conclusion. It's going to make massive news this year.
Yes, exactly.
And it could be good or really bad news. I mean, it could be. It's hard to tell, but it's going to get a lot of discussion. And the other part of that is, I mean, do you foresee that this is kind of a clash of the VC titans?
I mean, so I wouldn't say there's a clash of the VC titans. The VCs, they won't care if this go down. They were already 10, 15x their investment.
No, I mean, other VCs that weren't allowed to be a part of it. Maybe.
Oh, no. I mean, see, the technology is inevitable. Like this, the whole idea about Bitcoin to me is Bitcoin's not the exciting thing. Is the idea of decentralization and democratizing access to power is what's exciting for me. So I'm a Bitcoin maximalist because I'm not investing in Bitcoin. I'm hedging against the U.S. dollar. I don't want to keep my money in U.S. dollar because they're printing more of it. So that's why I use crypto, because it's the best option I have against it. So, but for me, the way I see this is, I mean, most people don't understand how money works. How most people, 90% of people listening to this, I'll be very happy to make a bet. If I ask them to tell me the history of banks and governments and money, they wouldn't be able to tell me. Right? I mean, I don't have any formal education, but I made the effort to study this. I didn't go to university. They don't teach you this in university, right? I mean, I don't only have like 5 minutes. So I got to finish this fast, but just to give you a small idea of how I see this changing, how I see this changing the world. You have to go back in time. You have to go 200-300 years in back when we started having banks and governments in place to enable trade. Somebody like me from India wants to do somebody from the business with somebody from the US. So there was no way to make that trade happen. That's why we have banks and governments to act as intermediaries, to set up laws, to set up ways to transfer value easily, right? That's why we have them in place. But what's happened over the last few decades is that these banks and governments have become extremely corrupt. So they are not serving the public anymore. They're not a public servant anymore. It's a lot harder for you to go get a loan if you're a poor guy in India. It's a lot easier for you to get a loan for $1 billion if you're already a billionaire, right? So that's not how they're meant to. That's not how banks are supposed to work, and that's not how the governments are supposed to make the laws, right? So this is because if you have a good relationship with the bank manager, he'll give you a loan. So that's what it's becoming now. That the banks and governments have become extremely corrupt. So Bitcoin takes that power away. It takes away the central authority and makes it decentralized. Where if I trust you, Bill, and you trust your wife, I trust your wife. So that's how it's peer-to-peer trust, right? And that's the idea behind Bitcoin, is to decentralize power and then eventually democratize access and governance too. I'll give you a small gist about that. For a business to be successful, there's three stakeholders involved: is the owners of the business, the managers of the business, and the users of the business. Right now, all the three stakeholders have different incentives. The owner wants to make the most money, the user wants to get the best product for the cheapest price, and the manager wants to keep everybody happy. They don't have the same incentives. But when you make a user an owner and a part manager, then that's where you see maximum growth. Blockchain enables that. Let's say, I'll give you an example how it enables that. It enables that by, let's say you have three Audis and I have three BMWs, and let's say BMW and Audi come out with their coin. Then they say everybody who buys a coin gets a claim to our revenue. So you go and buy a bunch of Audi coins, I go and buy a bunch of BMW coins. Now, if somebody asks us, let's say before we had the coins, somebody asked us what's the best car to buy, you and I would probably say Rolls Royce or Lamborghini, right? That's what everybody says generally. But not if we bought the coins and we become a part owner, you're going to say buy an Audi. And I'm going to say buy a BMW because I'm a part owner. So if I tell my friends to buy BMWs, I get a claim. You tell your friends to buy a BMW, you get Audi, you get a claim. So we become a part owner. We align incentives. The second that comes to about democratizing governance. Let's say all the token holders were able to make a claim on how the company is run. Let's say Audi makes $10 billion in profit. Then they don't know where to invest that money. They ask the token holders, should we invest in doing research and development for a new car, or should we do it for a new plane? I don't drive. So if I had Audi tokens, I would say invest in planes. So maybe you are a car fanatic and you love cars. You would say invest in a better car. So now they make a part manager. So that's when you see maximum scale in a business, when you align the incentives of all the three parties, right? That's what, and we're just getting there. Remember, blockchain and Bitcoin is only about a decade old. It's still very new technology. We're not going to go from a centralized model to a completely decentralized model overnight. It's going to happen over time. We're going to go from centralization to semi-centralization to decentralization. But we are on that path. We are seeing that with projects like Bitclout coming out. And I'm going to see, Bitclout is a blockchain too. So from what I understand, you can build on top of Bitclout. There's going to be an Instagram 2.0. There's going to be a TikTok 2.0 that's going to be built on top of Bitclout, which is far more democratized for the public. So there's a lot of opportunity that's happening right now in the technology. It's moving very fast. Most people fail to understand technology moves exponential. It doesn't grow in a straight linear curve. It grows exponentially. So it grows really, really, really fast. And most people can't grasp that. So it would serve them well to understand how technology grows. Bill, I'm really sorry. I have to bounce because the other guy's already texted me 5 times.
I got you. I certainly appreciate it. Evan, Luthra, have a great time. And thanks for joining us.
It was a pleasure to be on this call. If anybody listening wants to reach out, I'm very much available on Evan at evanluthra.com, or you can even follow me on Bitclout and Instagram. There's the only 2 social networks I use.
Yeah, definitely check it out.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All the best.